In What's New to BGA brings you Castles of Mad Ludwig, a building tile placement game with a really interesting I split you choose mechanism. This is pretty much considered, I think, a classic at this point, being 11 years old. This is one that I own physically, and you see I gave it a 7, and that was 11 years ago when I bought this new. It has a lot of ratings, 27,000, 7.5 overall, and it's voted actually best with 4. And I'll be honest, I haven't played 4 yet on BGA, but I have played 3 in person years ago, I know, but I've yet to play 4, so I'll have to dive in on that on BGA for sure. BGA says it'll take about 40 minutes real time. There are 2 expansions and then an optional way of playing already, which is always nice. The game is premium, and then it does play well turn-based, and I think it might actually be a little bit better turn-based just because when you split the pieces, there's a lot of thinking involved, and sometimes there's a lot of just me sitting there while my opponent is thinking, and obviously turn-based removes all this. So I think this really plays well turn-based if you're that kind of player. The goal of the game is to score the most points, of course. You're going to be building a castle here. You start with one foyer, and then you'll be building out from it. The game ends when this deck runs out. There are currently 17 cards. That is based on the number of players. Each of these cards have one of these building tiles on the back of it, like this one. Basically, during the beginning of the round, these flip over, and these are the ones that you add. The number there is the square footage. So the smaller numbers here, the 100, 150 are smaller, and then of course you have bigger ones, 500 and 600 over here. Depending on the number of players is how many options will be available down here. I'm playing a 2-player game. At the start of the game, you are dealt 3 bonus cards. You're going to keep 2 of them. You can gain more later in the game, and we'll go over that later. Also in setup, there are goals. There are goals equal to the number of players, and all you have to do is simply click on it, and you'll see what each does. BGA does a good job of telling you where each player is at. The game is played over 5 phases for each round. In the first phase, you're going to be drawing new cards from the deck. Whatever's on the back side is what you're going to add. Then there's pricing the rooms. You're going to be adjusting which room goes where. There are some things to take into considerations for that, but basically you're going to move them around and then set the price for each of them. Now, the interesting thing about this is your opponents will go first. So if you know they really want this tile based on their layout, you might want to bump it up. But if you put it too expensive, they might not pay for it and take something lower. Whatever your opponents pay, this money here on the top, you get. And then after they have all gone, you go, and whatever money you spend goes to the bank. After you're done arranging, you hit confirm, and then like I said, your opponent will go. They will pick a piece, they will drag it onto their board, and they will accept it. And then you get paid the money, and then you'll pick one yourself. You can always take a tile here, or another option is to take a stair or hallway here. Or if you don't want anything, you can pass and take $5,000. So here I'm going to pay for this tile here. So all I'm going to do is click and drag it down, and then I need to match it up. So on the tiles, you'll see there are openings. This one happens to have 3. Obviously you rotate it around, and then my foyer also has 3, so I line them up. Now this is a terrible play because of how scoring works, but I'll do it just for the sake of showing. So on a piece, after you play it, you're going to score the piece. When you score the piece, you're going to look at the top. There's always some kind of point, so I'll rotate this. So there's points there, so you'll score that 6. And then this little symbol here means anything touching. It doesn't have to be an opening. If it physically touches anything, in this case, you're going to lose 2 points. Basically, the theme is the theater is a little loud. These 4 rooms do not like the theater. You can judge what room it is by this little symbol down here. So if I can get more theater-style rooms, they'll be okay with being next to each other. I'll have to rotate it around so connections work here, and then I can place it. Now, because I placed a room, this is a line, which is like a hallway, and you see the foyer is a line or a hallway, I actually lost 2 points for doing that. You'll see at the end of the round, after everybody's done picking, you're going to add coins in step 4. You add 1,000 coin pieces on each piece. So 1 piece for each tile that was not picked. Then you pass the master builder token, and then it's the next turn. But I'm going to show you a few other things with building. You'll notice these ones here, these are basement tiles. These basement tiles here need stairs, so you have to have stairs built already. So in this turn, I'm going to take stairs. Stairs cost you $3,000, and obviously they have to go in an opening. Now, if I place my stairs here, I'm going to lose 2 points because stairs, again, is a hallway style building, so I lose points for this building. So instead, I'll place it over here, so I will not lose any points. And I go from light side to dark side to show that I'm going down. Now, next turn, the option of taking one of the 2 downstairs rooms. Now, downstairs rooms score slightly different. They score for every room of this type in the upstairs or normal level. So here I'd score 1 point for these style buildings and then 2 points for these. Since I already have this music style building here, I'm going to take one of those. This has to go on my stairs, and I will rotate it, and then I can place it. Then I will check for scoring, but again, the scoring here, I score 1 point and then 2 points for every music building. Now, I do gain more points as I build more of these style buildings. So luckily, BGA takes care of all that, so you don't have to worry. But if you're playing physically, you'd have to keep track of that. Now, the stairs are lit up because I completed a room. Whenever you complete a room, meaning you close off all the entrances, you get a building bonus. In a second here, I'll show you the building bonuses for all of them. But when you do a hallway or a stairs, you get to build another hallway or stairs for free. So I'll take a hallway and drag it down. And if you look here, I'm going to put the hallway on my foyer. And it'll automatically change from a dark to a light because it's upstairs. And I hit OK. All other buildings other than the stairs, you would get to another bonus action. I completed the foyer, closed off all 3 entrances, but because I did the stairs already that turn, you actually don't get a second bonus. All other rooms, if I was able to get 2 red rooms in one turn, or a red and then a yellow, or whatever the case may be, you do get both bonuses. So again, you get the bonuses when you complete a room, meaning you connect all their exits. And then you can see each room has slightly different scoring bonuses. Sadly, BGA doesn't have a great way of viewing this, at least that I found. So I actually pulled up a rule book, or this is a cheat sheet I found on BGG. The last type of scoring is this guy here. So these are when you connect adjacent rooms through entrances. See, it's a little black opening like here. Whereas before, it was just touching. So here, since the opening is connected, I would score 2 points. And then if this was green, I would score an additional point. So right now I'm just looking at 2 points. Hopefully later on I can add a green connected here and then score an additional point. Now green tiles are special. They have an opening here that has to be open, meaning no building can be touching it. I'm going to show you a couple special things here with buildings. So that green building I just built, all green buildings have like a gate on the outside, a fence. That fence can never touch another side of the building. So you see here that's not allowed. Rooms obviously have to be connected through doors, but it is possible here, this small focus room here, you see how the doorway hits a wall? That's still legal. This room here can never be completed because this entrance has now been blocked, but it's still a legal placement. Like I said earlier, downstairs rooms always have to be connected to stairs or other downstairs rooms. And then you're not allowed to buy a room if you can't legally place it. BGA won't let you. 3 types of scoring. Obviously, you get the points at the top. Then there's this symbol here. When they're adjacent through a doorway, you score points for adjacent buildings. So if I had green buildings adjacent to this building, I'd score 2 as long as they're touching through this doorway. This guy here looks slightly different. You score 3 points, of course, at the beginning. But then you lose 1 point for every building touching the red. That can be through the door, or if it just touches the back side of it, you still lose a point if they're the matching 2 rooms. In this case, blue and purple. And lastly, downstairs, you get your 3 points, and then you get 1 point for every green building you have above. All 3 of these are kind of ongoing. So if you add more green buildings to this room, you would score more points. If you touch this one, you would lose points if these are the 2 buildings touching it. And then, of course, if you build more greens, you get more points. So again, rooms are considered adjacent if any parts touch. If it's just the side or an actual door opening. You keep going until the deck runs out, and then you do scoring. Okay, scoring for the game. First, there are going to be in-game points. Those are going to be calculated the whole time. Then we're going to be looking for depleted stacks. So on the board here, you'll see there are numbers left on each of these stacks. If any of them get depleted throughout the game, you score 2 victory points per castle tile in your castle that matches. In this game here, the only thing was depleted was the stairs. There's still 2 hallways left. These 2 piles share the same. So stairs were depleted, and both of us scored points. I had 1 set of stairs where my opponent had 3, so he scored 6, I scored 2. The next thing to look for is the king's favors. That's simple. You just click right here. It'll tell you who's winning and what these do. Then there's bonus cards. These are the cards you start with. These are also a bonus when you complete this style of room. Down below, you can see how many you have and your opponent has. And basically, depending on certain types of rooms, you score points, etc. And then lastly, leftover money. You score 1 victory point for every 10,000 coins left, rounded down. So for example, if you have $29,000 left, you only score 2 points. Well, I think this one stays at a 7. It's still a lot of fun. I still enjoy it. And like I said, I really think turn-based, this one could be quite good. Just because there is quite a bit of downtime in real time, I think that turn-based might work really well. So I'm going to play this one a few more times for sure, but I think that 7 will fit just right. Well, I've been the Digital Board Gamer. As always, good luck and have fun.